back to the series on automating your bookkeeping using QuickBooks Online. And we are currently working on this subject of money coming in. How do we automate some of the transactions relative to cash coming in? And for some of the businesses that we work with, you may need to have the ability to import transactions rather than manually key them in. This is the video we're going to work on right now. It's importing transactions. We're going to look at Saasant Transactions as an option. We're going to look at an example here of what we can do. We're going to look at two different examples here. Importing transactions using QuickBooks, which actually has some of that functionality in it. And then we're going to look at Saasant Transactions. What we're going to do is we're going to go out to QuickBooks. And we are in our test environment. And we're going to look at how do we get to QuickBooks imports. Let's go to the gearbox in the upper right hand corner. And up here under Tools, you're going to see Import Data. Here you're going to see options for when you initially get onto QuickBooks Online, if you're transferring your data from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, or from Sage 50, Peachtree, and there's even some other options in here. Now, what we're looking at is what do you want to import? Well, we want to import bank data, which we can find out in a different location also, chart of accounts when we're setting things up, customers when we're setting things up, products and services when we're starting things up, and vendors when we're starting things up. But they also have this ability to do invoices. Now, this is going to be a short demo as far as it relates to importing invoices into QuickBooks because of this. Importing invoices isn't quite ready to support sales tax. So if you have sales tax in your organization, which most organizations do, you're not going to be able to use the import invoices inside of QuickBooks. If we're looking at bringing in invoices or sales receipts, things like that into QuickBooks, one of the options we have available to us is somewhat of a low cost. I'll tell you what the pricing looks like for this is single company plans. You're looking at on a monthly basis, you're looking at a launch of per month. That gives you one company, gives you 5,000 transfers per month. So if you don't have that many, 5,000 rows per month. So if you don't have any more than that, then that works great. If it gets to be more, then you have the Rise plan, which is available to you. Monthly receipt credits, line limits per file, so there can only be 3,000 lines every time you do it. There are some limits here. We have not run into these with our clients, but depending on the volume of business that you're doing and the volume of rows in an invoice or a sales receipt could drive your price up just a bit. But this is a great option for bringing data in if you don't have an application that ties in from your e-commerce or from your whatever platform you're invoicing online, and that data coming in. If you don't have a direct application integration inside of QuickBooks Online, then you're going to need something like Saasant Transactions. For us, typically we use the $15 per month plan, and we're going to go through an example here. We're going to import some sales data. I have some data out here in Excel, and we're going to argue that this is the data, the way that the data comes in from our platform, whatever that platform is. Hopefully there's a CSV export feature that you can run, and this is what the data looks like when it pops out. What we're going to find out when we do the Saasant transactions is some of these items that we have to be in the QuickBooks entries. This is what Saasant Transactions looks like on its main page. I'm actually on the bulk upload page. And you're going to see these are the different options you have available to import. So if you primarily use it for invoicing, but perhaps there's some journal entries that you need to be able to do as well, you have that ability too. So this is going to give you infinite capability to import items into QuickBooks if necessary rather quickly. So let's take a look at invoicing. And then click on that, and I'm going to clear this one out, do a little testing ahead of time. I'm going to go out and find my data. So this test CSV is the same thing that I have open here. And I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to come back to this and hit continue. And so we're ready to start create maps. So I click on that button, and it's reading that file right now. And it's going to tell me in red, these are the fields that are mandatory. You got to have these fields in here if this thing's going to work. And so you see the sheet. So when you import a spreadsheet or workbook, you might actually have multiple sheets in it. So you want to make sure you grab the right sheet. In this case, it's only the one page. And we're going to go to invoice number. So what is our invoice number? Well, I don't remember, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use column E, order name for that. We're mapping this out. I have my order name, my customer. I have a customer name field. I'm going to click on that. And this information are all the headers from that spreadsheet. All right, invoice date's going to be day. Due date is due date. Terms is terms. Email, I don't have one. Deposit location. Let's see here. Sales tax code. I don't have sales tax code, but I do have a sales tax amount. So I'm going to slide down here and grab taxes. Don't have a service date, product or service. I'm just going to use a product or service description, and I'm going to use product title at the time of sale. But you might have all these fields, and that should work. And then product service amount. That's going to be my gross sales in this one. When I do that, you saw that all the red items that was highlighting have gone away. So in theory, I've satisfied the minimum requirements to create invoices in QuickBooks. I have the minimum enough data to be able to do this. What we can do is, once you take a look at this, you can preview the mapping. So it gives you an idea of what the invoice looks like on QuickBooks, but we're going to take another step here. And I'm going to go to review. And it's going to ask, do you want to apply suggestions automatically? So this is giving us some parameters around this import process initially. And I am good with all this. I'm going to hit save and continue. And now I have a view of this. This is what it's going to look like. So I've got the invoice number. I've got the due date. I got the terms, the invoice date. I've got the product service description, customer, and so on. I'm going to click on preview again. And now you can see where the fields go. It's interesting here. It's not quite right. Here's the description. That's right. The amount should be $49.99. The tax should be $462. So we're going to see if this is actually going to work. But at this point, I'm okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit upload. And I am going to upload anyway and see what happens. This can take a little bit. Even with the small file, it can take a couple minutes for it to process. When it completes, you're going to find out if it's successful or if you have errors on it. So it shows that we created 6 invoices, we have 5 customers involved, and so now we can go to our file, and I'm going to refresh it. And I'm going to go to sales and invoices, and I should find those invoices sitting out here. Here we go. So there they are. So it's a quick way to do this. Now, the nice thing about Saasant is, go back to it, we can actually save our settings so that every time we bring this data in, then it will save it. So it's going to be ready to go every time we do it. So as long as that data comes in the same way every time, that you receive that data in the same format, you should be able to upload it to Saasant Transactions and then import it pretty quickly. You don't have to go through that step-by-step process to map things out every time. Go all the way back here, browser files. Let's try this one more time real quick. I just want to show you where that is at because that's such a nice feature to have. What's interesting is seeing it already. It looks like it's already fetching our headers. So it's already mapped those fields again. So it's going to remember that. But if you're using this for different types of transactions, you may want to set up the ability to go back to map fields here. Hopefully it'll show me. It keeps kicking me forward a step. But on that screen, on the original screen, there is the ability, while it's doing that over here, where you can set the mapping. You can rename it. And that's a really nice feature. But if you're using this for just one company, you're using this for one feature, it's going to remember the way that you map this out. So that's Saasant Transactions for $15 a month or $150 a year. On an annual plan, you have the ability to bring in massive amounts of data very quickly without some of the hassles that are involved with the QuickBooks import process with invoicing. If you have any feedback on this, have any questions, anything at all, please don't hesitate to let us know. Thank you very much.